What's up, Dog Dingers? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. I will make a video talking about why I haven't posted, but today I want to talk to you about jerkbait fishing and tell you how amazing it is and how you need to get a jerkbait in your hand and fish it year-round because it's a super effective tool. Last year, one of my highest earning baits was a jerkbait. I always, every year, when I do well in a tournament, I write down you know, what lures I was catching the fish on, and the jerkbait was the second best performer. It's a year-round bait. It works in the spring, it works in the summer. I've caught them in the dead of summer in August, and I tell you what, in the fall time, late fall and winter, it is one of the best baits you can possibly throw on. This winter time, I literally have basically just fished a jerkbait. I've caught fish on some other lures, but I tell you what, I go to the lake and I just put on a freaking jerkbait and I just freaking go and I freaking catch them. And you can catch them every time you go out there. Yes, some of you probably have noticed by now, my nails are painted. My daughter painted my nails. Let's not make a huge fuss about that. Let's be grown-up adults. I love my daughter. If she wants to paint my nails, I'm gonna let her. I don't care. But just getting that off, because you're gonna see them a lot, you know, when I'm showing you the equipment. So first things first, equipment, very simple. You're gonna want a short rod, guys. I know a lot of guys do 6'10", 6'8". I have a 6'6" rod, and this is I think it's like a $70 rod. This is the Daiwa Airdex. It's a 6'6" medium fast. Obviously you want a medium because you're throwing treble hooks. You want a fast because you're trying to do little snaps. If you're using a glass rod or a really soft rod, you're gonna have a hard time snapping it, okay? That is just the reality of it. Same thing if you have a really long rod, it's hard to snap it. And I do a lot of my jerkbait fishing because I'm using live scope. I'm doing it from the seated position. And so having a short rod is just super vital. It would just be so hard on my wrist to throw jerkbait all day if I was throwing a really long, heavy rod. You don't have to buy an expensive one. You can go find your cheapest. I would say get a rod in like the $50 range, but a real short, like 6.5 to 7 foot. I'd probably try around 6. I'd try to stay around 6 foot, 6.5. Sorry. Medium fast. It's gotta be fast, guys. That's the one thing I know. There's no such thing as a fact in fishing, but that's one thing I would definitely say is to roll with a fast rod, because it just gives you that better twitch, a better reaction when you're snapping the jerkbait. Okay. The second thing is the fishing reel. This is a SLX XT. This is an 8-speed. I recommend a fast reel for this. The reason you want a fast reel is because it just allows you for it makes it so much easier to go fast. Because like a lot of times when you get them on a jerkbait, especially if you have live scope, you'll see they start getting hot on it. They start chasing it, and the last thing you want to do is slow down. You want to go fast, and you have to be able to catch that line and keep snapping it really quickly. So if you have a slow reel, you're not going to be able to do that. It just kind of holds you back if you have a slow reel. You can get away with it, but when you need to do different things, go faster, go slower, I just think a faster reel is going to play in your favor. Okay, so it doesn't matter what kind of reel. This is just what I have. You can get any reel, but get a fast one, guys. Fishing reel, fishing line. Some people are gonna go crazy on me for this, but me personally, I've actually just started throwing some Trilene Berkley big game monofilament, and I've actually had some fantastic days. I just recently had a 99-inch day on this local lake that I was fishing at on a jerkbait, throwing monofilament. So you can do it. People are gonna tell me I'm crazy. People are gonna tell you you're crazy. But if you want to save some money, you can definitely throw some big game. I used to throw Trilene. I like Trilene. I'm not sponsored by them, but that's just what I've thrown for a lot of times, even when I was younger. It started with the big game for sure. Fluorocarbon 100%. I throw 12-pound on both of those. I just think 12-pound is a good line. A lot of times you're throwing a jerkbait over the top of cover, like a brush pile, and you don't want to throw 10-pound, 8-pound. If you want to get deeper, I'll talk about that. You can throw lighter line if you want, and that will help you get a little bit more depth, but I think there's better ways to do it. Okay, I don't know if the noises have stopped, but guys, it is really difficult to videotape stuff outside because there's so many noises going on. But I'm going to show you my jerkbait box. As you can see, 90% of them are Megabass jerkbaits, and that is because the Megabass jerkbait it's the best jerkbait. It's a staple. There's probably some other great jerkbaits, but this is the one that I stand by, and I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons why. Number one is I like jerkbaits, so if you're gonna buy a different one, I like jerkbaits that are thinner and have they're just easier. I'm gonna show you a difference. let me grab a actually deep diving jerkbait. So if you look at these, this is a 6 cents jerkbait. If you look at them, the bill size is quite a bit different. This one, it just comes to, even the deep, even the shallow version, the reason I like them so much is the bill is thin, the jerkbait is thin. You can also look at these, it's just a thinner jerkbait. So one thing about that makes it so nice is when it's easy to just give it a little snap and it's gonna react to it. Something like this with a little bit bigger bill, it just takes a lot more effort to get the jerkbait moving, to get it to do what you want it to do. So having a thin jerkbait with a small lip is actually really nice. I know it's a $25 jerkbait. There is another jerkbait I actually just tried recently just to give it a little go, just to see. And this is the H2O Express jerkbait. Again, it's thin, it has like a smaller bill. It has a good little build to it. This one actually has a weight transfer system in it, so it casts really well. The same thing with the Mega Bass jerkbait, guys. It's an amazing jerkbait. So look around, see what you like, find the colors you like, but guys, the Mega Bass is the best one. Everybody knows that. There's no arguments. There's other great jerkbaits, you can get those too. When it comes to hooks, this is what I use. I use a number 4, no sorry, yeah, a number 4 Gamakatsu G Finesse treble hook. These are the best treble hooks on the market. Again, another thing that I will argue about with anybody, fantastic hooks. They fit on every jerkbait that's this, any jerkbait that's that 110 size-ish, like the normal, like, you know, medium-sized jerkbaits, they all, this hook is perfect, the number 4. It fits on all of them, and it won't affect too much of the sink or suspend or whatever. But I'm gonna tell you a little something that's controversial. I don't think it has to necessarily suspend perfectly all the time. I think sometimes people overthink that, because the thing I've noticed with live scope specifically is a lot of times the last thing you want is to really let it sit there so they can come look at it, because they will come up and look at it and be like, that's not real. I mean, look at this, guys. Does that look real to you? Does that, I mean, even the really good paint jobs on these jerkbaits, if you were to come up and look at that, you can't tell me you think that's a real fish. And I think a lot of fish do the same thing. So I've noticed that on live scope, and you'll see in some clips that I share throughout this video that, like, you don't want to stop it and let them look at it, because that is when they decide not to bite it. That's just my experience. That's what I've seen. So what I'll say is it's okay if it's not perfectly suspending. Now, obviously, maybe that sometimes will get you a bite, but I think it's more important that you have some good hooks that they get penetrated on. You know how to get them to bite, okay? And the colors really I think is a little more important. So most of the time, 90% of the time, I'll throw the regular diving jerkbait. I will throw the deep diving occasionally. It just depends on the circumstance. Okay, so you're looking for, with the jerkbait, when you're using live scope, you really can just pan around. I know people say, you gotta look here, you gotta look there. Points, obviously, there's certain areas that are gonna be really great, but fish just float around. Like, a lot of fish are pelagic. People talk about that a lot. You can literally just scope around, and you know, not every lake's the same, but some lakes, you just scope around, you see a floater, okay? And what a floater is, just, you know, a fish that is suspended up high in the water column. If they're suspended up high enough, this is one of the best lures to catch them. Like, if I just see a random blob who's, you know, with a fish that's like 6 to 12 foot down, man, this is the best lure to catch them. I'll argue that with anybody. Of course, you can throw a minnow at them and catch them too, but this is so good because you can get them to react. And sometimes fish don't want to eat, but they will react to something, okay? And it's a game of cat and mouse. I'm going to talk about that a little bit here in a second. But you can also kind of go around and scope, like, up against the bank. Like sometimes I'll cruise and just look at the bank, and one of the main things is there has to be cover around. I've noticed that with live scope, just in any situation, that especially like floaters, a lot of times they're around some kind of cover. Maybe there's a big dock, maybe there's a marina nearby, or a big laydown or a brush pile. They'll be in the general vicinity of that. They won't just be like out in the middle of nowhere. They'll be near some form of structure or cover. So again, like I said, there's going to be high percentage areas, but there also is going to be fish just in random places. But if there's, again, if you see a fish and it's suspended down high up in the water, 20 feet of water, but it's 6 foot down, grab this sucker. And basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to throw it way past them. You're gonna reel it, and this is when you're gonna go slow with the jerkbait. You just jerk, pause, and you watch your jerkbait. As soon as it gets over their head, you're gonna know when you've caught their attention. You'll see them; it'll kind of like light up. And a lot of people, if you use live scope a lot, you'll notice this. When a fish sees something and gets excited, they'll light up. And if they start chasing it, do not just sit there and wait. I want you to start speaking. And just little short pauses, but a lot of fast twitches to keep them, like, get them really excited until they bite it. Now, what's gonna happen occasionally, sometimes you might go a little too fast and they'll kind of stop and lose interest. That's when you stop. Wait, pop, 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 and try and get their attention again. You have to kind of play the fish, but a lot of times if they're really on it, you gotta go fast and give it little short pauses, but lots of short twitches, just to really kind of get them, like, give them the illusion that the jerkbait is trying to get away. That is a great way to get them to bite, guys. With live scope, be careful. It looks like they eat it sometimes, and you're gonna set the hook, and you're gonna set the hook on some wind. So what I want you to do is just keep working it until you feel them. As soon as you feel them, reel, and just pull into them. Don't set the hook all crazy like you're setting the hook on a jig. Just pull real hard, like fast, and sweep into them, and then just start reeling. Then calm down, fight the fish, try to keep them in the water. Don't let them jump up. Once they start doing all that stuff, that's bad news. You got to have good hooks, guys. That's a huge thing. That's going to make the biggest difference. If you have cheap, sloppy, rusty, dull hooks, that's going to make you lose more fish. Okay, so focus on that. If they're a little bit deeper down, of course, the deeper diving versions is a great option. That's what I'd say. If they're 4 to 8 feet down, this is great. You can even kind of get it down enough to where they'll see it at 10 foot. But if they're below 10 foot, like if they're like, now let's see, if you're noticing most fish are 8 to 12, that's when you want to use this. And one of the things I'll say is, if they are a little deeper, gosh darn it, if they are a little deeper, this is what I'll do. You see that? It's wire. Just wrap it with wire to weight it down. You can get the +2 and all that stuff, but I think you can get away with just a +1, but you got to add a bunch of wire so that it sinks. You could cast it out, reel it till you see it, and then let it sink to the depth you want. This is what I use a lot of times when I'm fishing over a brush pile. I've fished this +1 over brush piles that were in 20 to 25 feet of water. I let it sink all the way down there, and I've caught fish doing that. I lost a really freaking giant one on Santee Cooper doing that. Throw it way past it, reel it down until you're not quite at the brush pile, but a little bit of ways. Let it sink all the way down to a good depth, and then work it right over the brush pile. That's another way to catch fish late fall and winter, is throwing this over brush piles. I've even caught them post-spawn doing that. Just throwing it right over the top of a brush pile, and they'll come up and just absolutely smash it. Now, let's talk about fishing a jerkbait if you don't have live scope. You don't need it, I promise you. A lot of fish are up against the bank, especially in the lakes that are a little bit stained. You don't want a crystal clear lake. They're not going to be up shallow. They're going to be really hard to catch on a jerkbait in that case, unless there's floating docks, and we'll talk about that in a second too. I would just go down the bank and freaking throw a jerkbait, dude, and just go jerk, pause, jerk, pause, jerk, pause, jerk, pause. Like, just get a good cadence, rhythm going. You don't have to go that slow unless it's freezing cold. Then you can try to go a little bit longer on the pauses. But again, sometimes they just come up and look at it. They're like, oh, that's not real, and they swim the other way. So sometimes just keeping that good cadence, and you're gonna get less bites because you can't see them and you can't make interaction. You can't interact with the fish and make just the right moves for them. You're just kind of guessing. So just get a good rhythm, good cadence. Go try different cadences, different rhythms, and see if you can get a bite. But throwing up against near laydowns, near docks, near floating docks, sometimes the fish will suspend right underneath them. That's a really good way to catch them on a jerkbait, even if you don't have live scope. And some of those things, you'll catch them doing that year-round. Boat docks, marinas, a jerkbait works. Now it comes to color. With jerkbaits, guys, I wouldn't go super crazy. I'm gonna show you. This is what I do. I have 3 colors: a bright bold color, flashy color, see-through color. That's all you need, guys, and just try them all out. I always start with the flashy. if I can get them to bite this, I'll get them to bite this, because I just feel like it has drawing power, and I think they just react better to something flashy. But if they're not biting it, I try the clear. If they're not biting that, I try the bold. And the bold one, especially if I can't get their attention. If I seem like it's just hard to get them to kind of notice it, that's when I'll throw a bold one on and start fishing that. Another thing you guys might want to do if you notice like they're kind of getting spooked a little bit is to throw a silent jerkbait. Try that out. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I will try to post more consistently if I can. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.